Smite 2's 24/7 closed alpha test has begun, bringing with it 23 gods, 21 returning, and 2 new ones, new items, ascension passes, new ways to play your heroes, and a much needed upgrade to the UE5 engine. We were lucky enough to sit down at Gamescom recently to talk to executive producer Alex Cantatore to go over some of the finer details of what it's like working with the new engine, how it speeds things up, and how it's just going to enable them to make Smite 2 all that much more better for everyone involved. Hope you enjoy the questions, and if you can think of any that we missed, feel free to leave them down below. Smite 2 coming out, it gives you freedom. Does it change the rules internally of how you approach the game?
Completely. I mean, one of the big issues was Smite 1 was on Unreal Engine 3, and this is on Unreal Engine 5, right? So it's a big jump, not just in terms of the quality of the tech, but also the ability of our devs to interact with it and make awesome stuff. So one of the big changes from Unreal 3 to Unreal 5 is this gameplay ability system that it has. And Smite is a game about gods with abilities, right?
Yeah.
So suddenly all of this power is in our developers' hands to where they can experiment with kits, they can try new things, and in a single day, our developers were able to stand up the kit for the god Kukulkan. It's a very simple kit, but previously that took 6 weeks of programming time. And so now, because they can stand up things, they can experiment, and we can try new interesting additions to each god's kit. And if it doesn't work out, we haven't committed weeks of development to it. We aren't stuck to that path. We can now go well, that didn't work. Okay, we lost an afternoon, We can try something else completely different. So it's really just we feel so empowered with these new tools.
So does the design philosophy change with that then?
Yeah, so because we're able to move faster, because we're able to try more things, what we've pushed towards is making gods viable in more roles. So if you play as Zeus, Zeus is a mid lane mage in Smite 1. That's all he does.
Yep.
You're going to build the same 6 items every game. In Smite 2, you can play him in a lot of different roles, because we've changed the way that you scale with items. So it's not like you can only buy magical items anymore. Now each god scales off of strength and intelligence, and they scale different abilities, and you can be okay, I'm going to be an in-hand attack build where I'm just throwing lightning bolts at you, and I can be a hunter. You can still focus on damage and be a mage. You can even potentially be a jungler with some of the weird things that you can do with him. And there's just so much more freedom for players too, because of the way that we're able to add more details to a god's kit.
You've kind of just beaten the question I was about to ask.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, because my next question was going to be, so from a player perspective, Smite 2 has that aspect of it's a big graphical update.
Yes.
But also, are you looking at how you change the play style of the game slightly? Because, of course, you want to keep that core the same so that players know what to expect. But now that you're on a new engine, now you have more freedom, it does mean that you can start being well, let's shift where the goalposts are on what Smite 2 is.
Yeah. It's the interesting thing has been figuring out what makes Smite magic and we shouldn't touch, and what are the things that we should evolve for a new game, right? And it's when we first announced Smite 2, a lot of people were well, why didn't you add verticality? Why didn't you make Smite into a completely different game? And I've played a lot of
games. Why isn't this just an update for Smite 1?
Yeah. And for us, it was, the main reason was we need a new technical foundation. We were so slow with UE3, and our tech was so far behind. The UI for Smite 1 is built in Flash, which is not a supported tool anymore.
No.
And it takes forever to do anything, and it looks like garbage. So now in Smite 2, we can do things a lot differently. But I totally forgot this. What was the initial question? I got so excited.
The Smite 2, you have to keep the core the same.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're adding to Smite 2 is in Smite 1, the only way that you can interact with something is by killing it. In Smite 2, we rethought the way the button binds are, and there's now an interact button that you can use to do special things at different places in the world, right? So there's a door at the back of the fire giant pit where you can pay 20% of your life to open the door and interrupt a fire giant fight, right? Or new gods are taking advantage of this interact button to have their abilities function differently. So Hecate, the goddess behind you, one of our all new goddesses, her ultimate, she makes 2 portals and on the ground, and enemies are swapped from being in one place to the other. But your allies can choose to interact with the center of it and decide if they want to go one direction or the other. So it gives you a lot more flexibility, a lot more strategy with how you play the game. And kind of this interact button plus being able to play in more roles, plus the whole item system has been completely reworked beyond just strength and intelligence. There's now the concept of active items. So in Smite 1, you bought items, they all just had passive benefits. Now you can actually have new abilities, new buttons that you can press. So like if Ares is going to chain pull your whole team, you can buy Talisman of Purification and give your whole team a CC cleanse. You know, there's a lot more depth and strategy there about how you counter build, and you're not just building the same 6 items every game.
Is there any abilities that are coming up for some of the new heroes that wouldn't have been possible in the old engine?
Yeah. So I would say it's less that it wouldn't have been possible in the old engine technically, right?
Would it have just taken a lot more time, like the Portal one as an example?
It would have taken a lot more time, and we don't have some of the same core systems that enable it, right? So it's like we could put an interact button into Smite 1, but that's changing the core of what Smite 1 was. We could change the way stats scaled in Smite 1, but that's changing the core of what Smite 1 is. And what we found over the years, we've done 10 years of live service updates, and there's only so much that you can change a game while it's still called Smite 1 that people are going to accept, and they're going to be willing to like take the journey with you. We've gone too far sometimes in the past with things a lot less influential than adding an interact button and changing the way items work completely, right? So this for us was an opportunity to fix some of these like long-standing problems, and the community be a little bit more willing to accept it than if we were to try and do that still within the Smite 1 world.
In Smite 1, you've had so many very cool crossovers with companies. And I was just wondering like what that was like to be able to get these partnerships.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think we've had a great business development team. Smite fans are very passionate, and like are out there telling people that they want their IPs in our game, and they're helping us along the way. And it's just been really neat to work with some of these IPs that we loved our whole life, right? Like the Avatar: The Last Airbender collaboration was really huge for us and really neat. And our art team, we're of the age we grew up watching the show, and like it means so much to us to be able to do that, hopefully honor and get it into Smite 1. I think that one of the, I'm pretty open about things that, are good and bad about making the transition.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is hard is that like those business deals don't jump between games, right? So
But you do now get to make new business deals with Smite 2.
Right. And we're hoping that, we are already in talks with some people about some exciting new opportunities for Smite 2. And, some of them are, one of the things I love about the way we handle it in Smite 1 is that some of the stuff's just like obscure and wacky. It's like, we have the crab from Crab Rave. We have the RuneScape, characters. We have the Gnome Child.
I'm writing my thing that you have the turtles, right? Or
we have the turtles, yes.
Which that one to me was like, what? Why? What?
Yeah. It was very fun. And, one of the, like, as we were doing the turtles, like, working with their team, they were like, it's really important that all 4 turtles are playable on a feasible team comp. So you could make a team of all 4 turtles playing together.
Which is like from a logistical point of view from Smite, that's like, oh, sure, we can try and make that.
It took a little. It's maybe not the greatest team comp in every mode, but we have seen a lot of like all turtles team comps, or we have Transformers, we have like Stranger Things is even in Smite 1, right? Like we've done a lot of those crossovers, and it's been exciting because like what we find is that just because you do a crossover with another IP, it doesn't mean that everybody who loves Stranger Things is going to come play Smite, right? But if it's something that your fan base loves, and if it's something that like there's some interest between that fan base and your fan base, like maybe you'll get a couple new players, but you reinvigorate your own players, and they get to see this fun new thing in the world that they love.
So Smite 2 still, a way off, but you have started to ramp things up in consideration of like public. There's a closed test.
So starting on Tuesday, August 27th, like this coming Tuesday, we're going to be entering closed alpha on Xbox Series, on PlayStation 5, on Steam, and on Epic Game Store. So it's kind of like an early access release. But I'll say like, it's a little bit earlier than a lot of games will choose to go into early access.
Like early access.
Early access, right? And the way we go about it is like we really do want to listen to what the community has to say. We want to be willing to like make drastic changes to a game. And we've implemented some new features that need to be up for a longer time in this more state. Like we have an early draft of Ranked where we want to test out our new matchmaking. We have some new god progression systems where like as you master a god, you're going to unlock a lot of free, cool new kinds of rewards like stat trackers and global emotes and things that we didn't have in Smite 1 that we want to make sure these new systems are working in Smite 2. So for us, this is like the next phase of testing. Like if you want to be an early adopter, if you want to get in, if you're excited about the idea of a third-person action MOBA, right?
Yeah.
Like come play the game and like help shape it. And then like by the time we go free to play, hopefully early next year, we think it'll be a great experience for new players to jump in and really get their feet wet.
So if people also do want to keep up with Smite 2 and follow, you mentioned like keeping an eye on things, is there a Discord, is there social media? Where's the best places to keep an eye on Smite 2?
Yeah, I would say our Discord is a great place. If you go to our Twitter or whatever the hell it's called now account, at Smite Game, there's a link to our Discord, and you can join in and take part in the conversations. Like we do, like we even do like these small flash tests where we just like turn the servers on for like an hour to get feedback, and we just like post on our Discord like, hey guys, go hit the servers, see what's up,
Yeah.
So we're very closely integrated with our community. But yeah, check out the Discord, check out our Twitter account, and play the game, on Tuesday. If you want a free key, hit up our website to register for that, or else you can buy the Founders Edition to get in.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the best with it.
Thanks so much.